There are places in the world that don't ask permission to change whoever crosses them. In 1914, a group of 28 men embarked on a mission that promised to be the last great conquest of the age of exploration. They wanted to cross the Antarctic continent from end to end, a journey of more than 1,700 miles over living ice. Nobody had done it before, and not because courage was lacking. Ernest Shackleton chose each man personally, looking into the eyes of hundreds of volunteers before deciding. They say he searched faces for something no resume could ever reveal, a silent willingness for the impossible. The ship was called Endurance. The name was a warning nobody chose to read. They left in August. The world did not yet know that a world war was about to consume everything. For weeks, the journey was exactly what they expected, cold, grueling, but manageable. Then the sea began to change color. Antarctic ice looks like nothing any word can describe with precision. It is a world that exists by its own rules and was never made to shelter human fragility. In January, the Endurance became trapped, not partially, not temporarily, completely captured. The men waited. Days became weeks, weeks became months. Shackleton made a radical decision that few leaders in history would have had the courage to make. He abandoned the original mission. The objective now was only one: bring everyone back alive. For 10 months, the ice was their jailer and their home at the same time. They created routines, celebrated birthdays, staged theater plays to preserve their sanity. But ice has no patience for human rituals. In October 1915, the Endurance sank. 28 men were left alone on the ice with no ship. What happened in the months that followed defies any reasonable definition of human limits. They dragged 3 lifeboats across the ice for weeks under temperatures that froze their breath in the air. They slept on the ice, ate whatever they could hunt, and kept moving forward. After 5 months on the ice, they finally found open water, but the ocean waiting for them was the most dangerous on the planet. The Drake Passage, 50-foot waves, storms that have no witnesses because nobody survives to describe them. For 16 days, they navigated those conditions inside boats that were never built for this. Shackleton did not sleep during those 16 days. He kept watch so the others could rest. When they spotted land, some men cried for the first time in months. Others simply stopped rowing and stared. It was Elephant Island, uninhabited, battered by constant winds, but it was solid ground. The problem was that nobody in the world knew where they were, and no rescue ship would ever pass by. Shackleton announced he would leave again, this time with only 5 men, to find help. The destination was South Georgia, an island with a whaling station 800 miles away in open ocean. They left in a single 6-meter boat, the smallest and most robust of the 3. The 22 men left behind watched until the boat disappeared on the horizon. Many believed they would never see them again. The crossing of the James Caird lasted 17 days and is considered to this day the greatest feat of survival navigation in history. They reached South Georgia, but they landed on the wrong side of the island. Between them and the station stood a mountain range no one had ever crossed. With minimal equipment and bodies destroyed by months on the ice, they crossed the range in 36 hours without stopping. When the workers at the whaling station saw them arrive, they did not recognize them. They were different men than the ones who had left. Shackleton organized 4 rescue expeditions to retrieve the men left on Elephant Island. The first 3 failed. On the 4th attempt, the ice opened, as if the ocean itself had decided enough was enough. When the ship appeared on the horizon of Elephant Island, the 22 men were still there, all alive. Shackleton counted the men one by one before ordering departure. He needed to be certain with his own eyes. 28 men, 0 deaths, 572 days after departure. But the story that is rarely told begins right here, at the moment of return. They came back to an unrecognizable world. The war had consumed an entire generation while they were fighting the ice. Several of the men enlisted immediately, as if the ice had not been enough. Some never managed to sleep in beds again. Others could not bear enclosed spaces after months of confinement. But there was something deeper and harder to name, a shift in the way they saw the world. Frank Hurley, the expedition's photographer, spent the rest of his life trying to show people what he had witnessed. Nobody ever fully understood. Shackleton died 7 years later, at 47, on his way to another Antarctic expedition. He could not stay away. His men said that never, at any moment during the expedition, he showed despair in front of them, even when he felt it. Because leadership, he had learned on the ice, is not the absence of fear, it is the decision not to transfer it to those who depend on you. The expedition failed its original objective, and it is remembered to this day as one of the greatest human achievements of all time. Because there is a kind of victory that is only possible after everything else has been lost. And there is a kind of person who is only revealed when every excuse to be less than they could be has been stripped away. They left wanting to conquer a continent. They came back having conquered something no map can ever record.